I never believed in haunted schools. I grew up hearing stories, whispers passed between students, half-laughed rumors, things teachers pretended not to hear. Every school has them. Every old building creaks, every dark hallway feels wrong at night. But Ravenport Secondary was different. People didn't joke about it. They avoided it. The school sat at the edge of our town, far from the main road, hidden behind dead trees and a rusted iron gate that never fully closed. During the day, it looked normal. Brick walls, tall windows, faded blue lockers, a cracked basketball court. At night, it looked abandoned. The strange thing was, it wasn't abandoned. Classes were held there every day. Teachers arrived on time, students filled the halls, bells rang, exams were taken. But once the sun went down, no one stayed. Not teachers, not janitors, not security. And if someone did stay, they never talked about it again. 2. The rule everyone followed. On my first day at Ravenport, the rule was explained to me, not by a teacher, but by another student. His name was Marcus Hale. He was older, tall, quiet, with the kind of eyes that looked like they'd seen something they couldn't forget. "Never stay after the last bell," he said. I laughed. "Detention exists, you know." Marcus didn't smile. "I mean it," he said quietly. "If the bell rings at 3:15 p.m., you leave. If you hear another bell after that, you hide." That was it. No explanation. Later, I asked a teacher. She stared at me for a long moment, then said, "Focus on your studies." That should have been my warning. 3. A history that didn't add up. Ravenport Secondary was built in 1968. According to official records, it had never closed, never burned, never experienced any major incident. But when I went to the town library, I found something strange. Newspapers from the 1980s had missing pages. Entire weeks were gone. One librarian, an old woman with shaking hands, noticed what I was searching for. "You shouldn't dig into that place," she said. "Why?" I asked. She leaned closer and whispered, "Because the school didn't lose students, it kept them." The first name. It started with a name, written in chalk. I saw it in my second week during math class. The blackboard had been cleaned before the lesson, but faint white marks remained, like something had been erased badly. A name was scratched deep into the board, Elias Morrow. I asked the teacher who that was. Her face went pale. She erased it completely and continued the lesson as if nothing happened. That night, I searched the name online. No records, no graduation, no death certificate. But when I searched Elias Morrow, Ravenport, one result appeared. A missing persons report. Date, October 14th, 1999. Age, 16. Last seen, after detention. The bell that rang too late. The first time I heard it, I thought I imagined it. I had stayed late studying for a chemistry test. The classroom clock read 3:47 p.m. The school was silent. Too silent. Then the bell rang. Not loud, not sharp. It sounded tired, like metal crying. My chest tightened. I remembered Marcus's words. "If you hear another bell, hide." But where hide? The lights flickered on by themselves. Footsteps echoed somewhere far away, slow, uneven. I grabbed my bag and ran. Someone was still there. As I turned the corner near the science wing, I saw someone standing by the lockers. A student. He wore the Ravenport uniform, but it was old. The logo was wrong, faded, stitched differently. He stood completely still, head down. "Hey," I said, "school's closed." He lifted his head. His eyes were red, not bloodshot, burned. "You're late," he said. Then the lights went out. The janitor who quit. The next day, the janitor was gone. His name was Mr. Callahan. He had worked there for 22 years. Teachers said he retired. Students said he quit. But Marcus told me the truth. They found him crying in the supply closet, holding a mop like it was a weapon. "What happened?" I asked. Marcus swallowed. He said the lockers were knocking back. The locked wing. There was one part of the school no one used anymore, the north wing. Doors chained shut, windows boarded from the inside. Official reason, asbestos. Unofficial reason, that's where detentions used to be held. Late detentions, evening classes, makeup exams, until students stopped coming home. The videotape. Marcus showed me something I still wish I'd never seen. An old VHS tape, security footage, date March 3rd, 2004, time 3:18 p.m. A student sits alone in a classroom. The bell rings. He looks up. The door closes by itself. Then the camera glitches. When it comes back, the classroom is empty, but on the blackboard, a message is written. Class is not over. The promise I shouldn't have made. "I'm staying after school tomorrow," I said. Marcus grabbed my arm. "Don't." "I need proof," I said. "People don't just disappear." He looked at me like I was already dead. "If you stay, the school will notice you." I laughed it off. That was my mistake, because Ravenport Secondary was never empty, and now it knew my name.
The school felt different after that night. Not louder, not darker, aware. When I walked through the gates the next morning, the air felt heavy, like I was entering a place that already knew my future. Students laughed, teachers talked, lockers slammed, but all of it felt staged, like noise hiding something underneath. Marcus avoided me. Every time I tried to talk to him, he turned away. "Something wrong?" I asked. He finally looked at me and said, "You stayed too late, didn't you?" I didn't answer. He nodded slowly. Then it started. 2. The name on the attendance sheet. In history class, the teacher called roll. Everything was normal until she paused. "Elias Morrow," she said. Silence. My heart stopped. That name again. She frowned, checked the sheet, then continued like nothing happened. I raised my hand. "Miss, who's Elias Morrow?" Her chalk snapped in half. "That name shouldn't be there," she whispered. She erased it from the attendance list with shaking hands. But when I looked back at my notebook, the name had been written on my page, in my handwriting. 3. The detention slip. At lunch, I found a yellow slip inside my bag. Detention, room 204. Time, 3:15 p.m. I never received detention. No teacher spoke to me, no reason was listed. Marcus saw the slip and went pale. "That room," he said, "is where it ends." "Ends what?" I asked. "Students," he replied. 4. Room 204. Room 204 was in the north wing. The chained door was open. No warning signs, no locks, like it had been waiting. Inside, the classroom smelled burned, old smoke mixed with dust. Desks were arranged in perfect rows. The blackboard was cracked, covered in deep scratch marks. Names were carved into the desks, dozens of them, some crossed out, some circled, some still bleeding ink. 5.
You were never alone. At exactly 3:15 p.m., the door closed. The bell rang. This time, it was louder. The clock on the wall stopped moving. 3:17 p.m. I wasn't alone anymore. I felt it before I saw it. Breathing. Not mine. 6. The students who didn't leave. They appeared slowly, one by one, students sitting at desks that had been empty seconds before. Different uniforms, different years. Some looked burned, some wet, some bruised, all staring forward. No one spoke until the chalk moved by itself. Welcome back. 7. The teacher without a face. Footsteps echoed. A figure entered the room, tall, thin, wearing a teacher's coat. Where his face should have been, there was nothing, just darkness, like a hole cut into reality. He spoke without a mouth. Detention is not punishment, it is correction. 8. The truth about Elias Morrow. A student beside me whispered, "He sat where you're sitting." I turned. It was the boy from the lockers, the burned eyes. "Elias tried to leave early," he said. "The bell rang twice." "What happens if it rings twice?" I asked. He smiled. "You repeat the year." 9. The lesson that never ended. The faceless teacher wrote on the board, "Rules of detention. Do not look behind you. Do not answer when your name is called. Do not leave when the bell rings." A bell rang immediately. Half the students stood up. They screamed as the floor opened beneath them. Gone. 10. Marcus was there. I heard my name. Adam. I froze. Then I saw him. Marcus. Sitting in the back row. Older. Paler. Dead eyes. He said, "I tried to warn you," softly. 11. The school's hunger. The faceless teacher turned towards me. "You noticed us," it said. "You stayed." The walls pulsed like a heartbeat. "We require witnesses, then replacements." 12. Escape was never the goal. I ran. The door wouldn't open. The bell rang again. 3:17 p.m. The room reset. Desks clean, students gone. Only one message on the board.
They let me go. That was the first thing I noticed. When the bell rang for the third time, I didn't disappear. The classroom faded, the walls peeled away like old paint, and suddenly I was standing outside Ravenport Secondary School. It was sunset. Students were leaving, parents were waiting. Everything looked normal. Too normal. But when my mother asked how my day was, I realized something terrifying. I couldn't remember how I got home. The first symptom. That night, I dreamed of lockers, rows and rows of lockers stretching forever, slamming shut in perfect rhythm. Each time one closed, I heard my name whispered from inside. Adam. I woke up screaming. On my arm, written in red ink, were numbers: 204-317-1999. I tried to wash them off. They wouldn't fade. Survivors exist, but they're not free. The next day, Marcus found me before class. "You're marked now," he said. "You survived," I replied. "So did you." He shook his head. "Survived isn't the word. Borrowed is." He took me to an empty classroom and locked the door. Some students are allowed to leave, but the school never lets them go. The list that updates itself. Marcus showed me something hidden behind a loose wall panel, a binder. Inside were names, hundreds of them. Each name had a date, a room number, and a status. Missing, transferred, graduated. Marcus pointed at one, Elias Morrow.
Status, still enrolled. He never left, none of them did. What graduation really means? I asked about the ones marked graduated. Marcus didn't answer right away. They stop aging, he finally said. They stop dreaming. They become staff. I remembered the faceless teacher. The Nurse's Office Incident, 2007. Marcus told me about a girl named Hannah Lee. She collapsed in class in 2007, claimed she couldn't hear the bell anymore. Doctors found nothing wrong. 3 days later, she was assigned as a student aide in the nurse's office. By the end of the year, she was listed as faculty. Her parents never questioned it because the school changed their memories. The second bell isn't for you. At exactly 3:17 p.m., my ears started ringing every day, even when I wasn't at school. Marcus explained, the first bell ends class. The second bell chooses students. The third bell, he stopped. The third bell rewrites reality. The cameras don't lie, but they edit. We broke into the security room. Old monitors flickered with live footage, hallways that didn't exist, doors that led to classrooms with no windows, students walking into rooms and never coming out. Then the footage rewound itself, erased, like it never happened. Except one thing remained. In every clip, right before a student vanished, the same phrase appeared on screen: student accepted. Why the school needs witnesses? Marcus said the school feeds on belief, not fear, not death, recognition. Students who notice too much are given a choice: disappear or stay long enough to convince others nothing is wrong. Marcus's secret. I left once, my heart dropped. Once. Yes, I escaped in 2012, moved away, changed schools. So why are you back? He looked at the binder. Because I was still enrolled. The ones who pretend. I started noticing them. Students who never blinked, teachers who never cast shadows, staff who didn't appear in yearbooks older than 10 years. They were graduates, they were rewards, they were trapped. The school writes your future first. In the guidance counselor's office, I found my file. Future classes listed, locker assignment for next year, and under career path, hall monitor, north wing. The warning I couldn't ignore. That night, Marcus called me. They're preparing you, he said. You've been noticed too clearly. What happens if I refuse? I asked. He was silent. Then he said, no one has ever refused twice. The bell rang at my house. At 3:17 a.m., the bell rang, inside my bedroom, clear as day, and this time, someone answered it.
When the bell rang inside my bedroom at 3:17 a.m., I froze. The sound didn't come from outside. It came from my closet. Slow, metallic, patient. I watched the closet door open by itself, and standing there was my guidance counselor, still wearing her office clothes, still smiling. "You're late for orientation," she said. Then everything went black. 2. I woke up in 1968. I woke up sitting in a wooden desk. The classroom was different. No projectors, no computers. Old chalkboard, old desks. A calendar on the wall read, September 9th, 1968. Students around me whispered nervously. None of them were from my time. I tried to stand. The teacher slammed the ruler on the desk. "Sit." I did. The first detention class. This was the beginning. Ravenport Secondary wasn't cursed by accident. It was designed. The town had a problem in the 1960s. Runaway teens, dropouts, uncorrectable students. So the school board approved an experiment. Extended discipline program. After-hours detention, isolation, behavioral correction. No parents present, no records kept. The bell was never a bell. The original bell wasn't metal.
It was a machine built in the basement, designed to emit a frequency that caused disorientation, memory loss, and compliance. But something went wrong. On the first night it was tested, a fire broke out in the north wing. Students were trapped. The bell kept ringing. 5. The first graduation. When the fire was extinguished, bodies were missing, but attendance the next day was full. Some students didn't remember the fire. Some teachers claimed extra students were always there. And one student never left the building again. His name was Thomas Avery. Status: graduated. He became the first hall monitor. 6. The deal that was made. The town covered it up. In exchange, the school kept order. Dropout rates vanished, crime dropped, problem students transferred. The price? Every few years, the school needed new graduates. 7. Why destruction fails. They tried burning it down, flooding it, demolishing it. Each time construction workers quit, got sick, disappeared. Because Ravenport wasn't just a building anymore, it was a system. And systems adapt. 8. The third bell ceremony. I was shown the ritual. Students selected by the second bell are brought to room 204. At 3:17, the third bell rings. Witnesses observe. Reality resets. The school grows stronger. Memory is rewritten. And one student is promoted. 9. Marcus's final truth. Marcus appeared beside me, younger now. It needs us to believe, he said, and it needs someone to explain it. Explain to who? I asked. To you, he replied. So you'll replace me. 10. The choice no one escaped. The counselor returned. You've seen the truth, she said. You can forget everything, or you can help us keep order. I looked at the classroom, students waiting, the bell shaking, and I understood the worst part. The school didn't trap monsters, it created them. 11. I refused, I said. The counselor smiled sadly. That's what Marcus said. The bell began to ring. The classroom burned. Time folded in on itself. 1968 melted into 1999. 1999 into now. Students screamed. The bell rang louder than ever. And then, silence.
This is the final ending of the true school horror story. No continuation, no alternate ending, no sequel. The bell has rung for the last time.